area northwest of Two Rivers. But so far, that search and the search involving drones has not led officials to the boy. There were 70 teams of drone operators from dozens of police and sheriff's departments from across the state that helped in the search for Elijah. That included the Stoughton Police Department. Rachel Perry caught up with a drone operator and joins us with how the technology is being used and what, if anything, they found.
For more than a month, hundreds have joined forces to search for Elijah Vu. People from Two Rivers, where the 3-year-old was reported missing, and Wisconsin Dells, where he's from, are holding out hope Elijah is soon found. The latest search effort brought together officials from all over Wisconsin, including the Stoughton Police Department. Officer and drone operator Noel Crystal drove the nearly 200 miles north Thursday to join the roughly 70 other drone teams, all taking flight.
Just to give a different perspective from what ground crews were seeing.
Using what I'm told is a thermal camera, the crews searched the area looking for any signs of a heat source. Anything that radiates heat will show up outlined in red. In this case, that's us.
Because that's what's emitting the most heat, so that's what's going to show us the hottest.
Crystal tells me searching areas like here in Stoughton or more populated cities is harder because there's more heat sources, meaning the drone picks up on things like cars, people, or even rooftops.
The sun's cooking the roof lines, so they're obviously hotter than everything around them.
Less sources of heat means signs of life are easier to spot.
It has to be warmer than the ambient area around them.
Despite the large-scale efforts, dozens of teams, and use of technology, Two Rivers police say, unfortunately, nothing has led them to Elijah so far. In Stoughton, Rachel Perry, 27 News.
Live from News 9 WAOW, this is News 9's Wake Up Wisconsin.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here on Wake Up Wisconsin. I'm Sadie Fisher.
And I'm Jake Senholz. Let's take a look at today's top stories. There is a lot going on tomorrow, and we've got you covered on everything you need to know before hitting the polls in the spring election.
Plus, before the Francis Scott Key Bridge can be rebuilt in Maryland, a massive cleanup project is underway first. A look at the complicated and dangerous process.
And it looks like a damp start to the work week, even some snow in the forecast. I've got all the details coming up.
News 9 WAOW, we've got you covered.
And of course, before we get to all those stories, we do want to talk a little bit more about the weather with Justin. More snow?
More snow is
More
possible.
snow.
I mean, we're talking about tomorrow into Wednesday. We might have to break out the shovels in some
All
spots
right.
again, believe it or not. Yeah, no April Fool's joke there. We could see some rain today. Take a look at the radar view. We can see a little bit of snow in Minnesota, but that rain in parts of South Dakota and Iowa, that's what we're really looking at. That will likely move into the area, especially south of Marathon County later on this afternoon. So right now, it's dry. It's not too bad. We did have some clear skies overnight in Rhinelander. We see a dry scene there. And our Sherrill Tire and Auto Service camera here in Weston. Not showing too much going on out there, and we will see a pretty quiet start with temperatures not too bad either. It's in the 30s in the southern part of the area here, 36 in Stevens Point, 32 in Marshfield. A little bit chilly in a couple of spots in the north, with 26 in Eagle River, but it's really not feeling too bad. We're going to put up the green lights for your morning commute because that rain will not begin until later this morning and then into the afternoon hours, and we'll have yellow lights up, even though it's not going to be real heavy precipitation. It's going to be mainly south of Marathon County, and it might mix with a couple little flakes of snow, but temperatures will be in the 40s, so you don't have to worry about too bad of conditions on the roadways. But tomorrow and into Wednesday morning, we might see some snow accumulate. I'll let you know how much could fall coming up in about 10 minutes.
Well, happening tomorrow, it is the spring elections.
Across north central Wisconsin, we have a few area mayoral races and referendums to vote on. And if you missed your chance to register before Election Day, don't worry, you can register in person.
Bring in a proof of residency on Election Day in order to validate the address that you're living or residing at. And then in order to vote, you obviously need to have a photo ID.
If you have any questions, she says to direct them to your municipal clerks, but county clerks like her can also help with any oddball situations you may be in. And if you are already registered In voting in person tomorrow, you will also need to show a valid ID to vote. Acceptable forms of identification include a Wisconsin driver's license, a state-issued ID card, a military ID, or a U.S. passport. But there are some photo IDs that will not be accepted, like an out-of-state driver's license. If you do not have an acceptable ID, you can get one through the DMV.
And voters in Stevens Point are eligible to take a bus to the polls on Tuesday. The free bus service in Stevens Point is aimed to make voting more accessible for those who may not have a vehicle. The polls will be open statewide from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you're in line by 8 p.m., you will still be allowed to vote.
We do have several mayoral elections this week. Take a look at your screen. We have some of those races up right now. As we've been reporting, the mayor's gavel is up for grabs in Nakusa. Incumbent Mayor Dan Carlson is running against challenger Alan Marcoux. In Wisconsin Rapids, Alderman Matt Zacher is running against Tom Muse. And here in Wausau, incumbent Mayor Katie Rosenberg is running against Alderman Doug Dinney. And now's the time to make sure you're ready for Election Day. If you have any questions about what will be on your ballot tomorrow or where exactly your polling location is, you can find that all on myvotewi.gov. You can see that on your screen there, and you can find all the information you may need there.
Now to some of the referendum questions that you may see on your ballot, including 2 constitutional amendments that could shake up this state's election process. One with a yes vote would ban the use of private money to fund elections. The other asks voters to approve a constitutional amendment that bans anyone other than an election official from conducting an election. Forest County is asking for $2 million for an operational referendum. The county board says if it's approved, it would account for operational costs, staffing, utilities, and other important needs. And if it does not pass, things such as the Forest County Fair and elderly support services are at risk of funding cuts. And the Shawano School District is asking for more than $54 million in its current referendum. The district superintendent says that money would go towards improvements and upgrades at buildings all across the district. There are over a dozen schools with referendum questions on the ballot for voters in north central Wisconsin. We'll have a complete list on our website, WAOW.com.
And obviously, like we just mentioned, there are a ton of important local races to cast your vote for tomorrow, but we can't let it get lost that tomorrow will also impact the November elections. News 9's Jimmy Sadowski joins us live from the newsroom with how your vote tomorrow will impact your vote in the presidential election. Good morning, Jimmy.
Yeah, good morning, Sadie. Although there's some major local elections, including several mayor's races in the area, the first thing you're going to see on your ballot is the presidential preference primary, and that's going to impact your November vote. Tomorrow you'll get the choice to declare what party you'll get to vote in for the November election. That's something that might be glossed over when you're going to the polls tomorrow if you haven't gotten the chance to do much research. And its importance is critical, however, because if you go either Democrat or Republican, you'll have to stay in that party 7 months from now. And your party can change each presidential election.
In the state of Wisconsin, we don't register by party. We just register. You declare your party preference on election day. So you could be you could be a Republican one time and a Democrat the other time. You just have to stay within that party.
And if you're an independent, Minor says you make your choice of which party to vote, or you don't have to vote in any of them if you so wish. And the polls will be open tomorrow from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. Live in the newsroom, Jimmy Sadowski, News 9, WAOW.
Thank you, Jimmy. The dangerous and complicated work of removing the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore has begun.
3 Navy barge cranes are already on site and a 4th one is on the way. Ike Ajaki joins us from Baltimore with the removal underway.
Highly trained demolition crews have begun cutting portions of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge into smaller sections, allowing them to be safely lifted from the Patapsco River. A cargo ship crashing into the bridge in Baltimore Tuesday. A total of 6 construction workers are presumed to have died.
We have released the first $60 million in federal funding to help Maryland get the initial stage, which starts, of course, with the wreckage removal, demolition, but also the acquisition, the procurement, and the preparations for the new bridge.
The scale of the operation is huge. Salvage teams will use gas-powered cutters to separate sections of the steel bridge, while divers will conduct underwater assessments.
We have to be smart We've got to be safe. We have to make sure we're protecting these first responders and these people who are working on it. And at the same time, we have to move with a measurement of speed because we have got to get this channel open.
3 massive cranes from the U.S. Navy are already on site. A 4th expected to arrive this week. One of those cranes capable of lifting 1,000 tons.
It's not just that you have to remove the wreckage, it's that you have to do it in a way that doesn't cause portions of the bridge that are there across the water to shift.
Out of the more than 4,000 shipping containers on that cargo ship, the NTSB has determined 56 of them contain hazardous materials. 3,000 feet of boom has been deployed to contain any leaks.
And when we say hazmat, we're talking about things like ion batteries and perfumes. The good news is that what we're continuing to see is even the materials that are being collected in the boom do not have any impact on the communities.
Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Baltimore.
Thank you, Ike. U.S. taxpayers are leaving more than $1 billion blowing in the wind. The IRS says about 940,000 people in the U.S. haven't submitted tax returns for unclaimed funds from the 2020 tax year. IRS Commissioner issued a statement saying that the agency would like to hand over the refunds, but the deadline is May 17th. Taxpayers usually have 3 years to file and claim their refunds, but then after that, it goes into Uncle Sam's wallet. To file, get the relevant forms from your employers, or you can go to irs.gov. Social Security recipients who were overpaid will now have to pay back much less than before. The government will no longer automatically withhold 100% of the overpayment amount from the recipient's monthly benefits. Instead, it will take 10% or $10, whichever is greater, in order to get that overpayment back. The change applies to new overpayments, but those already having that 10% of their benefits withheld can ask the Social Security Administration about cutting the rate. Your time is 5:09, and you're probably going to want to grab your umbrella on your way out the door, as we might see some more rain today and snow tomorrow. Not the greatest forecast ever, but Justin Lowe will be back to let us know about it all.
Plus, basketball fans, it is coming down to the Final Four. Find out where your and our brackets stand after the break.
You're watching Wake Up Wisconsin on News 9 WAOW with Sadie Fisher, Jake Zenholz, and Chief Meteorologist Justin Lowe. News 9's Wake Up Wisconsin continues.
Welcome back. Happening tomorrow, it's the Brewers home opener.
Oh man, so exciting, especially with how good they've started off the season already. But this year, American Family Field is throwing a major parking change-up. There will be no more cashiers or scanners right as you drive up. You'll now pay for your parking ahead of time, and you'll activate your pass with your license plate number. Parking prices will remain the same, ranging from $13 to $20. And on busy game days, the company behind the technology says that this process will actually save fans upwards of 45 minutes. And new on Wake Up, the NCAA tournament's Final Four is now set. The last teams left standing are Alabama, UConn, NC State, and Purdue. Alabama has never been to a Final Four, and now they have to face the defending champion UConn Huskies, while the Purdue Boilermakers will take on the NC State Wolfpack in a matchup of teams who have not been to the Final Four in more than 40 years. Those games will take place Saturday, April 6th, with the winners advancing to the national championship on Monday, April 8th. And that brings us to our Wake Up bracket competition. And it's not completely over yet, not yet, but I have the likely winner sitting right here next to me.
I do have 3 of the 4 Final Fours on my bracket.
Which is pretty darn good, and I have just a couple of stats too. So roughly every year about 100 million brackets are submitted, 100 million. Only 1.4% of those brackets are better than yours. You are 372,000, so 372,000 out of 100 million. So
wow.
She may have, you may have lost the Oscars this year, but those are incredible, incredible numbers. Yeah, you're hitting 98.6% better than everybody else.
That's right.
So.
And I don't know that much about basketball, so there we go.
And that's not knowing anything gets you 3 out of 4 Final Four teams.
There you go.
Now, your Storm Track 9 weather.
Well, many areas were at a standstill in California over the Easter weekend. Yeah, they had some rain and snow, slippery roads, rock slides due to previous storms as well. And it was throughout the state that storm system traveled from Northern California down to Southern California.
Wow.
And I think it's the wettest 2 months they've ever had in LA. Back in for January and February, March now, they've got some rain as well. Wow. So yeah, they've been getting a lot of precipitation this winter. And that storm system that hit California might hit our area coming up tomorrow and into Wednesday morning, maybe with some snow. Yeah. We'll take a look first, though, back at March. Yes, we're in a new month. So March, how did it end up? Above normal, as you can expect. We did have 3 different record highs during the day, during the month. The warmest was 68 degrees, same as February. And nice thing is we were above normal on precipitation, almost an inch above normal on total precipitation. And snowfall was above normal as well after we didn't have hardly any snow all winter, right? All of a sudden we get 15.2 inches in March, and we might see a little bit more here coming up over the next couple of days. We see the temperatures are mainly in the 30s this morning, 37 in Shawano, that's pretty mild, 35 in Rapids, 29 in Medford, so it's a little bit cooler in some areas. Upper 20s is normal for this time of year. Normal high is 47, and that's what we had on Easter yesterday, but today a little cooler, and we could see some rain developing. We see dry conditions right now and a mainly clear sky with our Sherrill Tire and Auto service camera in Weston. And going to Rhinelander here, it's a dry scene as well. And the rain's probably not going to come in until this afternoon, and it's not going to hit the Northwoods. No, in fact, there might be a little hazy sun at times. 43 in Three Lakes, 43 in Leona, and similar temperatures in the south where it will be more cloudy. 43 in Arpin, 42 in Friendship. That rain mainly south of Marathon County this afternoon. It'll get a little bit damp. Our future track does show that a little bit of rain moving into the southern part of the area, and it might make a couple flakes of snow as we get into the evening hours, or tonight there might be a little slushy snow here and there. I don't anticipate too much accumulation though for tonight. Tomorrow, the bulk of that storm system that's coming out of California will start to move into the area, especially during the afternoon. You notice a lot of blue here on the map indicating snow coming on down. The heaviest most likely to the south and east, more toward the Green Bay area, but even into Wednesday, look at this, some scattered snow showers around the area. Probably not a lot of accumulation on Wednesday, but it's going to be a windy day and the clouds are going to hang around. We're not going to see too much sun until later in the week. How much snow? Believe it or not, The southern and eastern parts of the area could see 3 to 6 inches of snow, maybe more toward Clintonville, Wapaka, Watoma, Shawano, maybe some of those heavier amounts. But as you get closer to the Lake Michigan area, it might be 10 inches. Around the rest of the area, generally looking at an inch or 2. So here's your 7-day outlook. Not so great early on in the week. Temperatures going down. 44 today, 42 tomorrow, and 40 on Wednesday. It's going to be quite windy on Wednesday with a few snow showers yet. Then it'll be breezy on Thursday and getting better. And finally, above normal as we head into the weekend. 57 on Saturday and a nice day for Sunday. Nice for the birds out there. Yeah, Pauline snapped this photograph recently of a bluebird.